tendency of people is to go status quo. Stay where you are because it's a risky environment. What the challenge is how do you move forward despite the risky environment? Okay. Third is, in any risky environment, awareness is important. In a battlefield situation, it's called battlefield awareness. You've got to know where your people are, what are they doing, how do you get your business from one end to the other. Okay, so it is important that you are aware of what's happening in order to manage the risk that is related to the growth that you're projecting. Okay. In an ever-changing environment, anticipation is key to growth. Okay. You are not allowed to be reactive if you want to grow aggressively. Finally, with a world that's getting closer and closer due to technology, it's time to think globally and act locally. Okay. This means that you have to take into consideration the bigger picture before you go into a plan or a growth mode for your own local company. Okay. A back-to-basics approach on how to build growth. There are simple things these are simple rules on the road that would help you in order to look for your growth. Okay, first, building blocks of our business is the relationship. You might be a service company, you might be a manufacturing company. Does not matter. We build our business based on relationships. Relationships with clients, relationships with our people, relationships with our suppliers. Okay. Capitalize on these. Second, with the correct perspective, things are not often as complicated as it appears to be. Okay. Most people tend to come out with a risk and say, we can't do this because of this. Okay. The perspective should be, okay, given the list of what we cannot do, what can we do? Okay. Which gives rise to the next back to basics approach. Focus on the solutions. Okay. If you're already in trouble, it's useless to dwell on it. Focus on the solution. Okay. And if you anticipate that you will have a problem, start coming out with remediation before the problem arises. Okay. So focus on the solution. Next, identify, evaluate, seize good opportunities when it comes your way. In a risky environment, this comes rarely, okay? But you need to be able to identify and evaluate them and take them if necessary. Understand the situation clearly before acting. Again, this goes back to battlefield awareness. But most importantly, as Philip was saying, you have to be flexible. Not because you've stated these are your plans and these are your goals, it means that it's cast in stone. You have to remain flexible because only then can you be considered reasonably prepared for the totally unexpected. Please note, I used to hear that phrase that they say, nobody can be totally prepared for the totally unexpected. At the very least, you can be reasonably prepared. Okay. So what is the tool for growth that we were talking about? Okay. This is a tool that we've been using for the local firm since we started out. As you may well know, our firm actually started out in 1997 as a dinky, small accounting consulting firm with 17 people. In less than 8 years, we were acknowledged by our competitors as part of the Big Five. Okay. So that made us one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing auditing firm in the Philippines. So what did we use in order to do that? Okay. This was one of the tools. It's called the Enterprise Value Map. Okay. This is the handout, one of the handouts given to you, the one that's folded in blue. Of course, that's a condensed version. Okay. It shows you on how to make fast connections between what you want to do and how do you improve shareholder value. Okay. Now, of course, thinking that it's like that, you say, isn't this too simple? Actually, the Deloitte Value Map is expanded to this size. Okay. You won't be able to read it because the full version of that I can barely read also. Okay, so it's a large poster. Now, aside from that, Deloitte has actually customized it. Okay, this is the expanded value map. They've actually customized it in order to address particular industries, particular functions, or particular concerns. Okay. We can actually discuss that. Unfortunately, I don't think you would have the time for this morning. However, so let's stick to how does it work. Okay. Whoa. Let's see how this, and it's my tool. Okay. This is actually a version that Deloitte has come out with online. Okay. So again, you've got your shareholder values and then the top 4 items. Depending on what you want to improve on, you can actually click on that more portion. So if you're looking at operating margins, you can either look at income taxes, cost of goods sold, or general administrative expenses. Okay. Down the line, you can say that in order to improve operating margin, by looking into selling and general administrative expenses, we can either improve customer interaction or improve corporate shared values. Okay? So it goes down the line. Okay? Now, the Deloitte value map will actually link up all these as well. So not only is it, okay, so if we do this, we're okay? Not necessarily, because the table will show you that if you start changing things on this area, you will have to make changes as well there. Expectations or asset efficiency. Okay. So what does this do? Okay. Essentially, this tries to put into a nutshell, or at least some idea framework, for you to make evaluations on what plans you're going to make. Okay. In other words, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and confuse yourself by having so much data on mind when you come out with your plans. The full enterprise value map will actually assist you in making the connections when you are coming out with your plans for growth. Okay. So with that, hope you find it useful, and if you need to discuss this with us, we'd be willing to help. Thank you.
Very, very good. So could I ask any questions? Maybe I can ask one question. I know we're a bit on for time, but the global banking industry received a lot of headlines over the past few years as a risky business in some ways. Do you feel, Philip, that those risks have been somewhat accounted for? Or do you think there's still a great risk for the future? I know it's a tough question, but...
I thought we should ask Regine from the central bank. Yeah. Okay, I try my best to answer this question. I think basically the risks that arise in the banking sector, obviously there are a lot of technical, explanation for that. But at the root of those basically is the liberalization of the banking sector between investment and the commercial banking, right? And I think, as I illustrated in my example of the other client I have, the China Aviation Oil, I think the attraction of making profit and more profit, right, and therefore getting bigger and bigger bonuses, right, actually overrode a lot of common sense in the among the bankers. I think the fact that if you sit in the board of a big Western bank in 04 to 07, right, correct, and you say, look, let's stop all this derivative trading, right? That's bringing in maybe about 50–60% of the profit for the bank, and let's be conservative about it. We just do our traditional retail loan, housing loan, right? And we are happy about it. I think you'll be thrown out of the board, because you'll be accused of firstly not being up to date with the modern technology, modern banking methods, right? And secondly, obviously, you are a threat to a lot of people's bonuses. Okay. So I guess in a way, whether the risk has been really kind of identified, I think the original cause has been identified, right? Now, as to whether the solution that we have to address those causes are effective or not, I think the jury is still out. We got now QE2, right? And I think my other colleague, Philip Gove, who actually visited Manila last week, got a very nice cartoon, right? He got Uncle Sam feeding an elephant, right? And with QE2, and he said that I hope something good comes out on the other end, right? So that's all we are hoping for, that somehow QE2, right, will do something, and whatever comes out on the other end won't be so bad for us, right? But as to whether that is true or not, I think the jury is still out. There's a lot of skepticism as to whether quantitative easing will really help. But if you look at Bernanke's point of view, he said that if he doesn't do it, the U.S. economy may go on a downturn. We have a double dip, right? So I'd rather go on something into the unknown rather than into the known, which is the double dip recession. Right? So I hope that I answered that question. As well as for bonuses, as you can see now, the latest headline, I think, is that the bonuses are back to the pre-crisis levels again. Right? Correct? Except that this time round, they are a little bit more circumspect about really, going out and telling people they're earning all these big bucks, but the money is still there. Right? As long as the money is still there, I think the risk is still there.
Very good. Okay. Very good. Any questions? Perhaps people can come up later on. A lot of the kinds of questions people have would be, maybe not things you want to put in an open forum. So please come out. We'll have a couple of gifts for our speakers, if I could ask Louis to come up. And also I'll ask Gay Korandangan, I'm sorry, my dear. She's the CFO, appropriately enough, of the Tower Club here. And she'll just give a couple of gifts to our two speakers. Same time, could I also ask Nando Camus, the chairman of Jones Lang LaSalle, and Chris Butt, the country manager of Northgate Arinzo, also come. Christmas for you guys today. Okay, and if I could I have the... We've got a couple of draws, so please just give us a second here. We have 5 cappuccino mugs, first of all, from Deloitte. Okay, so please come on up. We have Ria Korandangan. Yes? The same last name as... Is that a coincidence? So please come on up. We have Nanette Versosa of Timberland here, head of banquet sales. No, we have Ryan of Butalid of Sun Life Financial. Is Ryan, please come on up. Okay. Eduardo Mendoza of TSP. Very good. And, oh, I need one more. Oh, Regina Fajardo of the Philippine Central Bank. Okay, very good. Okay, we also have a weekend stay for the farm. I don't know if you've heard of this. This is one of these high-end spa type things, and women love this. So you bring your wife, you'll have no back talk for a week afterwards. You can also bring your girlfriend, but just don't let your wife find out. No, I'm just kidding. So please, can we have Philip? We have Karthik of ECCI. Come on up, Karthik. Okay, and there's a survey on your chairs there, if you can fill that out for our Deloitte people. And again, come on up and talk to people.